Welcome back to the second installment of Mission Director's tutorials. In this one we will address proper object and variable naming. That does not mean, in fact, in the sense that object naming, you will name objects split Raptor or Argon Eclipse or whatever. It's the reference names you will use within create or set object nodes. So whenever you create an object, in this case we will use create ship, you will see that all of them, like in queues, have the name options. Like in queue, here names need to be unique, otherwise they will get overwritten and gets out of your control, so you will not be able to reference it later on. So the create ship or create object or create whatever will have a name, and here we will use a unique name to use as a reference for later. So this tutorial ship 1. So now, why did I put this here? Now this means that this name is stored as a local variable, not global. If I remove this, the object will be stored as a global variable. Now global variables are available throughout the game files, always. So once it's created, it's there, and you can reference to it all the time. This is sometimes handy to have if you want a variable to be accessible throughout various files, say like plot completion variables or achievement variables. So these are good to be global, because you don't need to have an active queue, because once you cancel the queue or destroy it, the variable will be gone if it's stored locally. If it's globally, it remains. Problem is, if you have a lot of global variables like checks, it sums up, ending cluttering your performance and really bringing down unnecessary performance drain. So we, like, as 99.9% of the times, we store objects that we use only for whatever mission you are or code you are making local. Saves you trouble, saves you performance and everybody else, and it's nice and clean, not cluttering stuff up. So now, like I had before, this is usually how you do it. This means, this literally means queue. So the game will load this object within this queue name. So if you have to reference it later in another queue, you will have to tell that queue that it's in this one that you will find this ship. So to avoid that, this sounds rather confusing. It's not. So as a second option, and in my case it's rather preferable to use immediately the queue name instead of this. It will save you trouble, because you immediately know where the ship is stored, which queue it is, and should you want to use it later, you just can copy paste the whole thing and don't need to remind that you have to remove the this and change it for the queue. Hope that was clear. It sounded a bit confusing. So queue name, object name. Yes. So that's how you reference ships, objects, stations, whatever. So everything you create gets a name, queue name, object name. Especially, it's good to have names that give you an idea, whatever it is, and spelling is not bad. That give you an idea what it is. It's easier for you, but you can give it a number or whatever you want. Doesn't matter. You can put A, B, C. Or problem will be later when you have to realize I want to reference this specific object, and you have no idea what it is. You will have to come back and look it up. So it will take a ton of time. So it's usually a good idea to name objects in a manner that you will identify them as quickly as possible, making it easier for you to say, I want to reference this ship, say a plot ship, and so you call it plot ship, and maybe the character's name or the task that it has to do or whatever it is. So it's easily identified. This is a good way of coding. Otherwise, when you're halfway through your mission, you will have no idea what the hell this ship is for, and it will be rather a mess. So I'm not going to cover all the explanations about what these options are. We'll get to that in a specific video, because it's just too much. It will take a huge amount of time, and we divert. Anyway, so I'll be just making this create to the end. So we put the rest logic to 0. We choose, let's say, an M1, and now close the tag. So create ship. Then we need a position. This is always good. Otherwise, it will just put you someplace. I'll choose me. Yes, and the sector. If you don't put, I'm putting one in, but if you don't put any sector in, it will be the player sector anyway. But just for habit's sake, type stuff in, even if it's just a few kilobytes more of data, which is not so bad. But you make sure you know where you wanted this ship. Otherwise, you will not realize it will spawn. Not ship, sector. I was daydreaming there for a second. Anyway, so this ship will be created. Let's put it 10 kilometers away. So it will create a ship that will be an Argon M1, Colossus with a race Argon, and about 10 kilometers, maybe more. Yeah, I can actually put the max in, but the maximum 20 kilometers. Here maybe I can just side note, this is all game units if you don't put stuff in. So 10 game units is like 500 game units is 1 meter. Yes, I think so. My memory doesn't play me any tricks. So I usually like to use meters or kilometers or whatever is needed. Anyway, so we have this ship created and it's there. Okay, so now what we want to do, we want to create another queue. Here we go. So you cannot create a queue within a queue. You have to have queues. You can have queue within queues, and but not the other way around. So we put queues, close tag, and have a new queue. So this queue will be a sub queue to the above one. Well, that's kind of obvious. Yes. Okay. So now this queue, we'll call it MDTutorial. say hail, whatever. Close it on. The condition, check all. Like I said, I like to use check all the time. And now I want to use check value, or no, come on. Check value, and now we will use a value, and it will be max 5 kilometers. So, because what I want to do is to check the distance between you and this ship here. Give me a break. I have to. Oop. Okay, so what we want to do is to check that. So we're changing this to the variables, to the director file, and we're going up here to the object variables. So as you can see, there are several. The one we want is the distance one. Where the hell is it? Object distance. Hello? No? Distance. Here it is. So you can use Control F and search, obviously. So distance of the specified object from the player, even if in another sector. So this is actual distance in meters or game units or kilometers or whatever we want. So we move back here and we put the value here. Object distance to object. Now the object we want, it's this one. Yes, so we copy that and paste it here. So when you read it object distance to whatever queue name object. Yes, and that distance is maximum 5 kilometers. So when this happens, this triggers. So because we don't have an event check, we'll have a delay here. I usually use 2 seconds. You can use whatever you want, depending on what you want. So 2 seconds is usually pretty good. Anyway, so what we want to do? We want to do that once this condition triggers, we want this say this object to retrieve whatever. So I'll use an incoming message again. If I could just copy this one. Okay, so we'll use that later. So I want to show you about naming values and explain a bit about confusion you can make about values and values. Confused yet? So to create a value, in fact, you set one. You don't create one. Set value name like above. We use this and say objects. So again, local naming like in object in create shift set value. We use this, and it will get the queue name. Now the difference here is that you are not restrained to use local variables and name them to